Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the morning these videos come, in the evening the MCQ lessons they come. And it's very important to follow all these articles daily on a daily basis, because it gives you that perspective, it gives you those opinions and that direction of thinking, and out of the box thinking you will be able to apply there only if you have this context on your mind. So a daily updation and consistency and this particular ambience which is there around you or maybe inside your mind, that should be based on these context. So that's why it's very much important, and you will be able to retain all the information, because the fact which are being asked in the prelims examination, that is from these articles only. So 30th of July it is, and let's start the lesson. Pocket News app is trending on Google Play. You can download that, and these courses by top faculties, you can get the information below the video. The description is given, and you can call on these numbers, and you can visit the website also. The chat section is available there, and regarding all these courses you can get all the informations. PDF you will get there on this Facebook group, and you will find the Telegram channel's link also, and the StudyIQ's Telegram channel link, we all know about that. You can follow me on Instagram too, and this is the Telegram channel's link of mine. Now these are the words and some idioms and some phrases, you can use that. Now about the articles today. Happy Mohan Jacob has written an excellent article here, and this article is important for GS paper 2. It talks about the mediation issue which is going on. You see, Trump said something, and that was a jaf, and then they settled this issue. Both countries, their diplomats and external affairs ministries and all, they managed this issue anyhow. And in India, you see, these people are so expert that they can disappear any information from the mainstream media by bringing some other information. So that's the case. So now this issue is gone from the public debate and the media news bites, but this will persist because it's a very relevant issue and it is affecting a lot. There is a reason that we need a resolution for India-Pakistan issues, because every time in India, half of the issues, they are stuck with Pakistan. And any issue you discuss, like you discuss economy, you discuss any management issue of any state or any particular minorities issues or anything which is there important in India on the political scale. So everywhere Pakistan would come. Some ministers are there, they will only take the name, they will divert every particular discussion towards Pakistan, and it will happen intensively during the elections time. So that's the case. So it is extremely disturbing for both the countries and their particular populations. Their leaders, their Pakistan's military establishment and all, their path is different. They are creating all kinds of troubles for India, and people, they are like the Indian people, mired with poverty, inequality issues and everything. So we need a complete resolution for that issue, and for that condition is such that both countries, they have put their own conditions from Pakistan, conditions from India, and we have said that we will solve it bilaterally. We have maintained that 1948, it was the phase when this issue went international, and this particular UN MOGIP, United Nations Military Observer Group in India and Pakistan, that started working here, and in 72 we signed the Shimla Accord there now, or the Shimla Declaration as we can call it. So with Shimla Declaration, it was a de facto end for this particular group. De jure means officially this group still is there, but it is not active and it is not suggesting anything. So it is not of any importance. Importance was given to this particular declaration, and both countries are maintaining that we will solve it bilaterally. Although Pakistan wants to take this issue internationally, but India wants to keep it bilateral. That's the condition, that is the status quo that we are maintaining, and we have registered all kinds of proposals of mediation there. So that's the case. Now the writer says that some problems are there in India if we want to take this issue towards some kind of third party mediation. There are some issues. First of all, that party would come with some motive. Always they have eyes on India's market and India's conditions. So it will be more of a popularization of issue and less resolution. Second thing, the hypernationalism issue, that is actually distorting all kinds of issues today. You talk about economy, you talk about politics, you talk about management, governance, everything is hyper-national. And they can divert anything in this country, they can relate anything in this country to the nationalistic issue. And you see this hyper-nationalism, how it is impacting the issue. You see, in the Lok Sabha elections, we saw they did not talk about anything else than the nationalism issue. And they did not give any record for jobs, any record for governance, any record for the economy. All these things were sidelined, and this nationalism issue was above everything. And the media, that is a great nexus between the ruling parties and the media. This is happening all over the world, whether we talk about UK, US, France or India. This is happening, and they will advertise these hyper nationalistic issues. So nothing is possible in these conditions. And you see, one more thing, any government would have been here, any government, any party would have been here, then if these issues would have been here, then they would have applied similar methods. You see, who does things actually on the diplomatic level? These strategists are there. If any kind of crisis is there, if any kind of a mini war is there, then these forces, these strategists, security experts and all, they are working consistently. Politicians do not know anything. But today, with the help of media, what they advertise? They advertise that politicians are doing everything, as we saw in the case of Chandrayaan, and they did not give any importance to ISRO or the body or the particular effort which they have been making for decades now. They did not talk about that. What they talk about, that our leader, that person reached on the moon, and they advertise this person. Psychologically, they fix this image in people's mind that your leader is everything. So this is the issue, and they equate the leader with the nation. So this is the issue of hyper-nationalism and making the image of particular leaders. So this is happening all over the countries, like all over the world, like US, UK, France or India or Russia. Anywhere you can take the example. So hyper-nationalistic issues are there. But you see, there is a negative side. If hyper-nationalistic issues are there, then there is a constraint on the options also. Means today we have maintained that we will not take it to any third party and we will solve it bilaterally. We are much capable, we are much nationalistic that we can solve this issue. We have much capacity. So we have equate this issue with the capacity. Means the issue which will be solved with the discussion and the intelligence, we have equated with that capacity, the force, military force. So that is the issue of hyper-nationalism, and that's why it is very much mismanaged and much advertised issue, and they are using some channels for that, and consistently they are manipulating people's mind. So this issue is also constrained. You cannot go for options here. So that's why this scrutiny is there. And if you go for third party mediation today, if somebody proposes that, I would say if Mr. Modi has, maybe suppose he has said something to Mr. Trump, there is nothing wrong with that, because both countries they have put their own conditions, and in this deadlock nothing is possible. The resolution is not possible. So we for sure have to go for some third party mediation, and mediation of some sort. So there was nothing wrong, but due to this hyper nationalistic issue, the thing that they themselves created, that is blocking now, and the status quo which we have maintained since 72, that is blocking us. So here there is nothing wrong with some kind of controlled mediation there and some kind of controlled talks there. We are not going to submit anything there. We are not going to compromise anywhere. It is just like a court. When people have problems, then people go to court. There is nothing wrong with that. And today in this condition where both countries are behaving like husband and wives, means they both have their own explanations, they both have their own conditions, they both have their own respective explanations. So it is a deadlock, because we cannot go for nuclear war. That is not an option. That is an option possibility, but we should not go for that. So that's why this a kind of a court is needed there. But we have to be very much careful about that, because any country would come, that would come with some conditions. Like America would come, it has its own interests there. So that's the case. So here, as I told you, this group is not working now. Practically, it is not working. Officially, it is there. Pakistan wants to take this issue internationally, but we do not want to take. Now, the writer is putting an excellent point here, a conceptual distinction between conflict resolution and the crisis management. You see, India-Pakistan issue is there. That is a conflict. Pulwama issue was a crisis. Means out of the conflict, always there have been crises. Kargil was there. That was also a big crisis. Pulwama was a crisis. 26/11 was a crisis. So out of this conflict, there are crises, and always where we manage the situation, and internationally countries are involved when they get global news and they say that India, Pakistan, they are at loggerheads, they are on a brink of war, then they try to manage the crisis. So automatically these countries, they get involved. So we are always going for in a way to the world as a third party for crisis management, but that is not the proper solution. We are blocking the conflict resolution through this third party way. But we are going for crisis managements. But crises will keep coming. Anytime when these elections will come, we will have many crises, because Pakistan will not desist, and we will maybe in the future. It's a suspicion. It's a kind of a threat. It's a kind of a fear that these kind of Pulwama type attacks, they will keep coming before elections, because Pakistan will not bow down, and it suits politics very well. We all know what is the situation there, and how these things are exploited in the elections. That is the case. So that's why we have a dire need today. I'm explaining to you because we have this important need that this conflict must be resolved. So we need conflict resolution, and for that we are in a deadlock. But we are never in a deadlock for crisis management. We are always going for countries, and countries are always reprimanding Pakistan in these crisis times. So always some directions are there from the world side. So it is not that there is no breach or we are not going for this option. We are going, but for the crisis management. But crises should not be there. We need a permanent resolution, and it is for the sake of the people of both the countries. Combinedly 1.5 billion people are stuck. No development talks, no governance talks, a lot of budget on the military and deployment of heavy military there that is needed. Air Force, Navy, all are always active. They have this fear. Many soldiers are losing their lives every day. So that's why we need a solution. And as I told you in the past that if both these countries, they go for this social campaign, that 1.5 billion people, they want a resolution within 6 months or 1 year, then these governments, they have to do something. They cannot go away, because their governments will they will be lost. These rules will be lost. They will lose the election. So in that pressure, they will do it at any cost. So that kind of pressure is needed today. But they manipulate people's mind with the help of this media, and they keep this issue hyper nationalistic, and they do not go for this conflict resolution, and they have kept it as a deadlock. Can you say there can be any resolution with the present method? Because they have blocked third party mediation and they have put their own conditions. So bilaterally this issue cannot be managed. So bilaterally this issue is blocked. Third party blocked means it's a blocked issue. They cannot go further, and always we will have crises out of those issues. Kashmir is totally disturbed. People's lives, they are at stake. Soldiers' lives are at stake. Because this is a deadlock issue, conflict remains and crises, they keep coming. So that's why we need resolution there. And for conflict resolution, we need to find some options there. And as it is well known, we have discussed this issue in the past also, that both in case of Kargil, Kashmir, 26/11 and the Pulwama issue, countries have been involved. They have released their statements. So that's the case. So when we accept crisis management with this third party mediation, why not conflict resolution? So that's the case, and we cannot separate both these issues. Whenever they will manage the crisis, they will get involved, and always the issue will be there, that what is the root cause? Root cause is that conflict. Why the conflict is not resolved? That's the case. So that's why you cannot separate this issue. And on the case of violence in Valley, human rights issues, again some multilateral institutions are involved, and they are criticizing India a lot. So that is also an additional reason for that. So this resolution must be there. And several people have in the past made a direct link between instability in Afghanistan and Kashmir conflict, because groups are connected. ISIS has captured the eastern part of Afghanistan. In one article, this issue is discussed, that Afghanistan is going through a crisis like such a state because elections are due, and all these leaders, they now fear of the issues. recently many people are killed. Taliban is ruling de facto. In practicality, Taliban is ruling there. ISIS is also involved, and these groups, they have connections, and the groups which are active in Kashmir region, they are also connected to these groups. Suppose they do not have any finances, they have any political backing, then they cannot take these issues for long. But these groups persist and they have support, so that's why they must end. If these groups, if this situation, if this instability and this backing is managed, then certainly we can solve the Kashmir issue, because these are involved there. Locals are not that much involved. Today they are influenced a lot, but these are groups. So we need to manage that. That's the situation. And that's why you see the condition, how drastic the situation is, that Kashmiris are against the Indian state today. Most of the citizens there, they talk very in a way, in an angry manner for the Indian state. So that is not good. That is never good, and that is very, very unfortunate. So that's why we need a resolution for this issue. And the lesson is that if you do not engage in dialogue with Pakistan directly, we are not engaging Pakistan today to resolve the Kashmir issue, third parties will continue to meddle. That will be there for sure, because we are inviting with this deadlock, that we are showing that there is a need for third party mediation. So that's the case. So you can write an important question there. And regarding the hyper-nationalistic issue also, how this thing is connected with the country's borders. So that's the case. Next, no detente on the horizon. Why? Because again the similar issue. Now the case with America. Elections are due next year. Trump at any cost would want to become president next year. So in the name of governance, they need to work very, very hard. But take the tool of hyper-nationalism issue, take the issue of nation and its security, and all issues are solved. Talk about China, talk about North Korea, talk about Iran, and your issue is smooth. Campaigning days are here. And what is the way, Trumpian way, or maybe it is the common way for most of the politicians across the world. And in all the countries, whether we talk about US, UK, Russia, India, France, these kind of leaders are working, who will take some issues, they will escalate these issues, and they will spread these informations in the media. They will show like we are doing something very, very huge, and they will create this image, and they will actually zoom in the posters, big images will be there, psychological image making will be there, and they will hail the leaders like they are the saviors. And then after some time, de-escalation will be there, because all countries will say don't go for escalation, like they say that we will go for nuclear war, our forces are there. So whatever the forces are doing, whatever the security experts are doing, whatever the strategists are doing, they will show through these media channels that these leaders are doing everything, and we can do everything, and we are much capable. So they will create these images and they will exploit votes. But after some time, they will de-escalate the matter, and the status quo will be remain there. So that is the case. So here against Iran, it is all intentional allegations and the image making and tarnishing the image of Iran. So that's going on, and it is inviting all the countries now. First US drone was there, Iran attacked that. Now Iranian drone was attacked, and Trump said that we can go for total annihilation of the country, but we do not want to go there. So they will show that we are much capable, but we are very much benevolent simultaneously. So we do not want people to suffer, but it is actually their own people who are giving them all these pains. We are here to save the world. So this image making is there, and this way they are sympathizing, and they are actually satisfying those emotional people who have been made emotional by these leaders back home, because they know that some people are struggling due to bad economy and all, and some traditional issues were there, like in America, the Native Americans and the colored people. So they have created this division, and they have made these white people against these colored people. And now white people were not working hard, these colored people, they were working hard, very, very hard. They came to America, they worked hard, and they established their spaces. But now, because those people the natives were not working that much hard, so it's very difficult time for them. So their frustration is there, So this frustration is exploited, and that is converted into some kind of nationalistic emotion, and that is made related with the Trump's politics. And this is the way when we talk about Trump, then these white nationals, they are affected, and this is the way these people are supporting these kind of leaders. So these are so false exercises, and this is going on all across these countries that I mentioned. So that's the way, means create a targeted group and take some majority and talk according to them, give them some distorted views, and they will get emotional over that, and then talk about the similar issues and target that particular group. Here in India, this is the issue of reservation. So a big demon they have created out of the reservation issue, although it is not right. First thing, it is not good. Reservation must go, but there is a way. But they have created a demon of reservation, and in the name of reservation, they have created this big divide politically, and they have put these reserved categories against the general category, and those people are against each other, and this way they are shining their politics. So that's the case. So these are small examples like how a particular group, a minority, or anything that is created, and the majority is exploited out of their emotions, and emotions are on the basis of nationalistic issues or anything. We can see the examples in India, and you see why these people are in their talks, because you see it is very easy to make people emotional if they are not reading for themselves about the polity, constitution, economy, geography, or the demographic issues, social issues. If they are not expert of these things, then it is very easy to make them emotional on the very legitimate issues like the national security. So that's the case. This is happening in India also, this is happening in America also. So this is the issue of politics, this global politics. This is the new trend that is going on all across these countries, and they use media for popularize these kind of emotions there, and that's a great tool. They can raise any issue, they can do any kind of image making for some days, and then they will just suddenly disappear those informations, and some other issue will come. You will notice in some years, for quite some years, in India also, in America also, in UK also, that we were discussing economy, we were discussing some problems of law and order, and there were clear allegations on the government, and suddenly some issue was there, that was some attack, that was some kind of major disaster, and every debate was wiped off, and the new issue we are discussing now. So we just forgot about that scrutiny, which was reaching up to some kind of conclusion, because they did not want us to reach up to the conclusion. So that is the case going on with this Trumpian politics, and it is all political issue. The Iran issue is all political, because Iran is still complying with the IAEA norms and the JACPOA norms, but still America is targeting Iran. So that's the case. Okay, and how they create this image, strongman image, we all know about that. All the sphere, you will see all across the sphere, which is popularized, whether it is movies, whether it is serials, whether it is politics, whether it is entertainment industry, whether it is apps, everywhere you will see these leaders. So psychologically they want to get established in people's mind, and then these nationalistic issues, emotional issues. So it's a multiple impact. It's actually multi-dimensional impact, actually, not multiple, multi-dimensional impact on people's mind, and they will not be able to think because their mind is all clouded with this strongman image. So that is the case with America, that is the case with Indian politics, that is the case with the Russian politics, or any other big country that's going on, and they have found a very nice way. In next article, it's a much repeated issue. Again, they are talking about the same issue, that 31st July is extended to 31st of August, and they are not allowing any re-verification, although they have done some re-verification, but officially they are not allowing it for the next 1 month. And the issue is very much political, very much disturbing. Authorities, they have actually debarred many people. They have not included 4 million people, and out of that more than 90% they are applying for inclusion there, and it's a religious issue also. But you see, when they have huge issues, suppose I take this NRC exercise as Brexit, what is happening in Assam, what kind of governance is happening in Assam, and what kind of issues are being discussed, how the economy is, how the law and order is, how the transportation is, how the business is. Nobody is discussing. They are only discussing about NRC. This is all mired. So that can be a great way, because intentionally these people are excluding some people, legitimate people. The retired military officials are also excluded. Means these things are done intentionally, so that all issues are diverted. And in the end, in some years, elections will come, and till that time they will stretch it. So this can be a great way, and that's why Supreme Court says that end it as soon as possible. You will not get any extension there, because always you will demand extensions. So that's the case. So that can be a possibility. That is my viewpoint. And we have a burning example of Brexit. What is going on? It's so great an issue that Theresa May had to step down, and this whole tenor of her that went into that, and Britain's economy and all, everything was disturbed. But nobody discussed, because they were discussing Brexit. So that's the issue. So here, this can be a huge problem in the future, because Bangladeshis will not accept if they declare some people foreigners, as the process looks like that. So they will not accept anything. So what's going to happen? How we are going to manage that? They have questions regarding Assam Accord also, that was signed in 1985, and again with the political regions, they say that we will not go for a proper scrutiny for that. We will not concede to this, we will not consider this. So in this way, all the legitimate solutions they deny, and these illogical decisions or the processes they are imposing very heavily, and they are very much stern about that, and they do not delay this issue when they apply their own methods. So that's the case, that's going on. So whatever is there, poor are suffering, the people may become stateless, many innocent people may become stateless. So that's a kind of a great problem it is going to be, and we cannot imagine what kind of consequences can be there if this much number of people, they will be stateless, and religious anger is also there. So we have discussed this many times. Now we will move further. Tiger census is there. Every 4 years we have tiger census, and it's a great news that numbers are close to 3,000, and it's a great boost from 2,200 to 2,976 is a huge number. And every 4 years we had this census. 2014 was the last one, and now 2018 one, and that is released on the World Tiger Day. As I explained to you in the yesterday's MCQ lesson, I told you in much detail why this 29th of July, and what is the issue of STRIPES program, the conservation of tigers. Like 1973 we established National Tiger Conservation Authority. So all these issues are discussed in the yesterday's MCQ lesson, so you can go for that. Kwame, it's a name of a German Shepherd dog, and it bags honor for taking on hunters. He has played an important role in saving these conserved animals there, and it is there in Kaziranga National Park supposedly, and his role was very crucial. So that's a kind of interesting information, and many examples we see that how they help people. Now the responsibility of the opposition clearly visible, and that's really good that they are considering this issue, because this is such a unbelievably real issue that is chilling, and the way these incidents unfolded, that's really unbelievable. That this is 21st century, we have law and order, and this is happening. A MLA raped a girl, and the girl complains. Then she was threatened for her life. Her father died due to their torture in the jail. Uncle slapped in many cases. Now when they were appearing they were going to appear in the Raebareli court, on the way their vehicle that is attacked, and on the wrong side the truck smashed into that particular car, and these people are killed, and mother they are killed, and the lawyer is killed, and the girl is in a critical condition. Means it is a intentionally clearly visible case that how they are destroying all the evidences against that MLA, and that MLA is a kind of a very dominant personality there, and he has much influence, and many policemen and all these people, they are very close to that person. We have seen many pictures publicly that how they are bowing their hands and bowing before that particular leader. So that's a clear case. And what kind of case is that? Unbelievably this thing is going on, and still that person is not expelled from the party, and they have not taken any action against that person. So what's going on, that is shocking to us. But you see, still they will disappear this issue very, very soon from the media, because a politician is involved there, and you will see that how they disappear this issue very, very soon. Let's see. One side there is a poor girl, 18-year-old girl, and her life is totally shattered, and because she resisted, all the consequence her family had to bear, and all people are killed in her family. Her father, mother, and the lawyer, all people are killed. Unbelievably true thing, and I cannot imagine that these things are happening today. Means, where is the law and order? And you see, you will be shocked to know how law and order situation is praised. On what grounds these are praised? They are saying that there is a sea level change. It's a day and night situation, which was there and which is now. They are saying that law and order is at the best position in Uttar Pradesh today. In Sonbhadra, some days back, 300 people came into vehicles and they shot down more than 24 people. And now this is happening, and they are saying that law and order is at the best position there. It is in the best shape in Uttar Pradesh. Shocking. Next information is regarding minorities panel. You see, National Commission for Minorities there, and there was an act, NCM Act of 1992, but there was a plea before it that Hindus in some states, they are less in number and they are a kind of minority, but minority status is not given to Hindus, so it must be given. Now NCM committee was established for that, and they said now all the right is there with the central government. Whatever they will consider right, they will do that. Our role only to maintain the unity, integrity of India, and we cannot identify these communities. We will support their causes, we will support their issues and the development and the progress of minorities, and protect their religious, cultural, and educational rights. So that's the case. They may ask you, and this act is important. According to Act Section 2C, NCM Acts, and it itself clearly states that a community is notified as minority only by the government. So that's the case. Next medical commission bill is passed, as we discussed for that. Before that, they were trying to introduce a bridge course so that they can tackle the menace of vacant positions for doctors and the need for doctors which is there. So they decided to go for a bridge course for these Ayurvedic practitioners, dentists and all. They will do this bridge course and they will practice like the MBBS doctors, but that is not possible for now, and they have withdrawn it. But this is passed, and the next examination that remains, NEET remains, and again a kind of a protest is going on. They say that it is not a universally accepted examination because state has its own rights, and health is also a state subject, and there they have their own medical colleges in the states, so the language is very much important. So maybe in some states these students are not comfortable with this next examination because regional languages, they are much in dominance there in their studies and all, in their schooling and all. So that's why it can be a problem. And why to introduce this much hectic examination after 6 years of MBBS course? So these kind of things are going on. But you see, universal standards are needed actually. It's a sensitive field, it's a medical field, and people's lives will be at stake. So that's the case. But IMA is also protesting against that, Indian Medical Association, because of this next examination, the additional burden which is there on the students now. Next, domestic institutional investors, just like the FIIs, foreign institutional investor, and there is the case of foreign portfolio investor. You see, in any business, in any field, in any sector, if the investment is less than 10%, if the foreign money is coming less than 10%, then it is FPI. If it is more than 10%, then it is FDI. It will be called FDI. Okay, so foreigners, they have been investing here, and still they are dominating the scene. And over the 10 years, FPI holding rose from 13.6% to 19.8%. But DII, domestic institutional investors, which we are hearing for the first time, they are also going up marginally. Means people are investing from India also. The domestic institutional investment means they are a specific type of investments in some businesses or some sectors. So that's the case. Next, Boko Haram. That's the important information for prelims. Boko Haram is there working in Africa, and they are very much active. They are a terrorist group and one of the most dangerous. Sometimes they are called more dangerous than ISIS, and they have killed many people. And whenever they kill, they will kill more than 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 people. They are very dangerous, and they may ask you about the Boko Haram. So it is there near Nigeria in some countries, and they have killed around 65 people now. So that's the case, and thanks a lot. Keep watching. We will meet again tomorrow. It's a simple important information, you can understand that. HMS Duncan is sent by UK to safeguard its ships there in Strait of Hormuz, because Iran had captured some of the ships there. So that's the case. So escalation is going on. More countries are getting involved there. So UK is now getting involved in the scenario, and clearly we can see the NATO allies are going against Iran, and they are joining hands slowly. So that's the case. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It is Amit Sani.